Hi, Weirdos! Welcome to Keep It Weird, the podcast for all things strange and unusual, creepy and kooky, and altogether spooky, and everything in between. Every time we get together, we chat about something weird. And this week, of course, is no exception. It's been a minute, my friends. But this week we are returning to an old favorite and answering your questions. It's Ask a Weirdo! Ooh, Woo! Ask a Weirdo is an episode full of questions sent in by you, our lovely listeners. Questions about cryptids, psychics, horror movies, ghosts, fairies, tattoos, religion, drama, and so much more. We'll get to as many questions as we can in the next hour or so, so get cozy or get crazy, snuggle up or let your freak flag fly. This episode is all for you. It's all for you, Damien. My name is Ashley, and this is my lovely co-host, Lauren.
Hey, Weirdos.
It's time.
That was so... Ooh.
Drinking crispy water.
That was so fun. Hi.
Since this episode is just like a big old chat, did you love The First Omen?
Did I love The First Omen?
The movie The First Omen, not Omen 1.
Yes. Yes, obviously. Correct. No, I was obsessed with it.
Same. I will say I don't love The Omen 2. I do love The Omen 3.
I don't think I've seen Omen 3.
Sam Neill plays a grown-up Damien.
See, but that feels like something you would have forced me to watch.
Probably.
So maybe I have. Tell me more.
It's not streaming often. Well, he's just, he's an adult Damien. He's in the political sphere.
Sure.
As he was destined to be. And he has like a weird thing for little boys. I don't know. You got to watch it. It's crazy.
Aww.
And then I think he goes to hell in the end. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. I actually don't remember.
But is it a spoiler? That feels right.
I have a mosquito bite, a skisko bite.
Oh my God,
but yeah,
I
the
have
first
so
Omen,
many.
Fucking ruled. Yeah, you were just in Illinois. You were in Skisko fucking heaven.
I was about to say...
Or hell.
Skeeto hell.
Yeah.
I was just in Illinois, and I wanted to bring that up anyway because, listeners, Ashley and I just got to be together, and it was
got to see
so
each other.
cute. Even though it was just tonight, it was so fun. I kept texting her after, being like, that was so soul-filling. It was so great. I got to see her and Handsome Joe, so be jealous.
Double whammy.
And double whammy. It was such a lovely night. Of course, we watched reality TV and even played reality TV bingo.
Yeah, we played Vanderpump Rules bingo.
It was perfect and wonderful in every way. But I also bring that up to say I have 1,000 mosquito bites all on my upper thigh and a lot on my butt. And even wilder because he's with me all the time. He sees all the ins and outs because that's just what it is when you're the main parent. He was like, why are they all on your butt? When I was going to the bathroom the other day, I was like, I would also like to know that. I would like to understand, but so many. What's going on, Midwest?
I know. Listen, where did I talk about this? Oh, with Amy during our weird report. I was telling her,
tune in
on my solstice, my summer solstice this year, which I believe was June 20th. I actually celebrated. I spent 5.5 hours in my parents' pool, floating around with old friends and my husband and my mom, and telling stories outside under the night sky. I got to see fireflies. It was truly magical. There was no fire, which was the only bummer. But there were fireflies, so I counted it. But here's the problem. For a half a week, probably 5 days afterwards, because I was in a chlorinated pool for 5.5 hours, I had a rash from head to toe. I had the most irritated skin. And I was like, oh, what happened? Like, did my dad put too much chlorine in the pool? And Joe was like, you were in the pool for 5.5 hours.
You
I
just
was like,
didn't
oh, that's
leave.
right.
You
Yeah.
didn't leave
I
the
didn't leave.
water.
And that's why I wanted to bring it up, because Joe that night, he did swim, but he sat outside on the patio for a lot of the night, and he had so many mosquito bites. And I was like, I didn't have any. One, I was in water. Two, by the time I got out of that water, my skin was poison and no bug would land on me.
The bugs were like, no thanks. I'm all
Absolutely not.
set.
Absolutely not.
They are all on my booty and my upper thigh, but I still don't know why, because I was in a jumpsuit. Do you think they just like got inside like the top of my jumpsuit and were like, she's meaty down here? I don't know how mosquitoes work. They like the meat.
They love the meat. Yeah, they might have just flown right in there and just
love the meat.
Let's get to some questions, shall we?
Sure.
I'm going to start with an easy one. Emily asks, what is your favorite and least favorite subgenre of horror? So we've got like slasher, found footage, psychological, folk horror, sci-fi horror, comedy horror, creature features. I think zombie is probably its own category by this point. Or apocalyptic.
This was hard, and like way harder than it should be. Like you even just said it, you're like, let's start with an easy one. But there is so much that I love, obviously, as a horror movie lover. But to no surprise, because of like one of my all-time favorite movies is Scream, I love slashers. I love slashers. A lot of people consider them cheesy, and they are. A lot of them are.
Yeah.
But I love them. It is that fun horror. And then my least favorite is torture.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the Hostel movies.
Negative.
I like the first Saw because
what a twist, my word. They really got us with that one.
I will never be over it. I don't like torture, and zombie movies are a close second to what I don't like, with a caveat, because I've been rewatching the 28 days, 28 weeks movies in preparation for the new one that I need to see, and they are so good.
Yeah.
But overall,
the first
hate
one is
zombie movies. I am okay with 28 weeks. Totally fine to hate it. It is trash for the most part, but that's the thing, is like, I hate so many zombie movies, but like, I will watch that series. I want to watch the new one, but overall I'm not into them. And whenever people are like, I can't believe you don't watch Walking Dead as a horror fan, and I'm like, nah, bro, like that is not my brand. And like, that's not horror. That is just drama with people who eat each other.
Yeah. I feel like horror movies are a vibe, and The Walking Dead's vibe is Yellowstone.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
That's not a vibe.
Right.
There's no vibe.
It's not a vibe. It's not a vibe.
It's not a vibe. So, and I only vibe.
Okay. You tell me.
Least favorite is pretty easy for me. Body horror, / torture, especially. I don't mind gore at all. I really love gore, but
torture's so different.
Yeah, it has to be used sparingly. You'll never watch me watching a Terrifier movie. I don't get it. I don't understand.
This is why we are soulmates.
Why it's entertaining.
I know. I don't like it.
But I will agree with you. I think zombie is pretty close, a close second for me too. Just because I feel like we've seen it. We've seen it all. There are standouts that make really great zombie movies and make them entertaining, but for the most part, I just could care less. Favorite was way harder for me because, like you said, I like so many types of horror movies.
I bet.
I went with creature features because I love a monster.
That tracks.
I love a monster. And those can obviously, like, they can cross over with other genres, but like, I try and think of like some of my all-time favorite horror movies, and it's like The Blob remake, Jaws, Deep Rising, which I still think is a perfect movie. Demon Knight, I'm counting it. There are monsters. I know they're demons, but they're monsters. Troll Hunter, The Fly, The Descent, Arachnophobia, Tremors. These are all my favorites. I will say, though, we don't get a lot of good creature features anymore because we have CGI.
Correct. And practical effects are where it's fucking at. And a few people still do it though.
No, yeah, they do, but it's rarely good.
The Descent
That will get you.
has fucked me up for the rest of my life.
What's the last like creature feature that was actually good?
Nothing. Well,
Nothing. There was definitely a final good creature feature.
I only say that because I'm like, what has been out in recent years?
There are creature features. I mean, Smile is technically a creature feature. I think that movie's dog shit.
Oh, you didn't like it?
Sorry about it. No, I thought it was a bad movie, and I don't like movies where they're like they did everything that they were supposed to do to defeat the bad thing, and then the bad thing's just like, just kidding, I'm gonna kill you anyway. And I'm like, okay, so
JK.
I don't know why we watched that whole thing.
Did you see Smile 2?
Mm-hmm.
That like monster at the end?
Yeah.
Like spoiler alert, but like
There's a monster in Smile and Smile too.
surprise. That monster at the end was all practical. It was built.
Yeah, the first one was practical too.
That thing was like tall and weird. Do I think that movie was good? No. Like I think Smile 2 was trash. But I loved hearing and like watching behind the scenes of the making of the second monster because that was like a tall creature.
Yeah. I would say the Ritual.
Ooh!
But I would say that's probably more folk horror than it is creature feature because you only really get that one little creature, but that's a weird creature.
And it haunted me.
Let's hop into the next one. Heidi asked, "Where do we go when we die?" Burger King!
We go to McDonald's and we get a large fry.
Damn. Heidi, coming in with some existential dread.
Good question.
On this peaceful Tuesday. Where do we go when we die?
Obviously, I have no idea, but my hope.
Nope, you have to answer.
No, I mean, my hope is that we are reincarnated, and I used to not believe in this, which I think like actually goes into another question we were asked. But the more research we have done and how long we've been doing this podcast for so many fucking years, I believe there is a big possibility that we could be reincarnated, whether it is in human skin sack form or as an animal or as an ant. I don't know. But I like to believe that we start a new life. I don't think we are going to any place in the clouds. I also don't think we are going down to hell and burning in fire. And that's okay if you do believe that, like whatever you want to hold on to. But I like to think that we start a new cycle and that we don't necessarily remember if we do start a new cycle and we are reincarnated, except for there are those few moments where kids say some weird shit and I think they remember for a second and then they forget. And we love those stories. But I like to think we start anew in a new form.
Well, I hope not, because I don't want to do this again.
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
Terrifying.
Tell me your thoughts.
I think we go back to exactly where we were before we were born.
Which is where?
Well, I don't believe in heaven or hell. So, but I do believe that we remain aware and a part of the collective consciousness after our bodies die. And I think that it can feel like heaven or hell depending on your vibrational state. So, like, if you were a super low vibrational person, like, say, Ted Bundy, I assume, was probably super low vibe.
Right.
Rex Hewerman. That's a deep cut. That's a Long Island serial killer, babes. He's on trial right now.
That is so good.
So I think those really like super low vibrational people, Donald J. Trump, I think that it's possible that when they die, it doesn't feel good because
of their low vibration.
It probably doesn't feel good for them now.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be a reflection of how they felt in their life.
How they lived.
I think that we exist there, wherever the place is before we were born. We exist there as a part of everything until it's time for us to live again. And I don't necessarily believe we're reincarnated as like ants, but I do believe we can live other lives on Earth. My quote unquote next life may be in the past on Earth. And it also may be my other life might take place on another planet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think we have another, I think we can incarnate in other ways.
That was another part of what I was thinking. It was like I could be me again, but like maybe on another timeline, a different version where like things just go vastly different, but it's still me and like my personality. I don't know.
Yeah, ugh. Can you imagine though? Can you imagine if you got born again to the same life
Ugh.
and we're on like the third or fourth time doing this same thing? That's what people mean when they say old souls. It's like they've had to do this so many times. And maybe that's why some people are super chill and relaxed because
Okay.
they've done it so many times and they're like, it's chill, like everything works out, it's fine. And
Oh my
then
God.
some people are super stressed out all the time because it's like that's only their second time ever doing it and it's still very scary.
Okay, so I'm gonna need to bring this to my therapist because now I'm gonna become obsessed with this where like I'm so anxious that this is definitely my first life because I'm worried about literally everything and I'm scared to walk out my front door.
Are you medicated?
I could, yes, and still. But in this next life, I'll be still anxious, but slightly more chill. But on like the fifth time, I'll be like,
You'll be cruising.
all right, all right, all right.
Yeah. Party at the moon tower, kids.
Is where I want to be. Matthew
Yeah.
McConaughey is on his 17th life, and that is why he is all right, all right, all right. Oh my God, Ashley, you just gave me nightmares for
I'm so sorry.
the next year.
Nightmares or dreams. It just depends on how you look at it, man. I'm on my 8th time around, so I'm pretty chill.
This is Ashley's 8th time. That's where you go when you die. Thank you for submitting your question.
That's where you go when you die. Right back to the day you were born. Good fucking luck. This seems like a good place, though, to answer a question, a listener question from Greg. Greg asked us, I know you are both ex-Christians, but if someone were to ask you what your spiritual beliefs are / what religion you are, how would you answer them?
I know. It was a good question.
Woof.
Spicy meatball, Greg.
I mean, the first thing I'll say is that luckily, we live in a world where asking about religion is still considered rude.
Luckily.
So, no one ever asks me that. Thank God. But if they did, I would give them a choice, probably. Depends on the situation. If someone at work, okay. If someone at work asked me that question, I'm going to say I'm agnostic.
Yep, that's what I say.
And then if they ask what that means, maybe I'll elaborate with a simple answer. But if like a friend were to genuinely ask me what my religion was,
Deep dive.
I'd be like, first of all, I'm going to need you to take a seat. Are you on any medications?
Do you have a beverage? Because we're about to be sat.
Are you on any medications that could impair your judgment?
I so am with you.
But I think that right now, and I say right now because my belief system changes quite often, which I think is super healthy.
That is something I literally like. I have bullet points of notes, like
Yeah.
not even because I was like, I also want to let it flow out of me, but literally my bullet points, I'm like, it changes.
It changes. And I think that's good because it's not like I go from like believing in one God to another God completely, but just
Totally.
like I use my experiences and I use the things that I like truly believe about the world and just allow it to shape my belief system, which I think is better than just blindly believing what anyone tells
And
you, which
isn't
is
that interesting, America?
America.
You can learn things and
And
let
change
it
your mind.
shift your beliefs.
Long and complicated. I believe in Christ consciousness, which is a kind of topical word right now. I'm sure it's been called many things. So very deeply inspired by Jesus Christ and his teachings. But unlike most Christians, I don't believe he was the Son of God. I think we totally misunderstood that.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was an incredibly enlightened being, just like Buddha was and just like Muhammad was before him. And I believe that our consciousness is like not something that's created by our body, but something that we like channel or receive like a radio. And it's connected to all living beings on earth. And by following the things that Christ was teaching, you not only become closer to the source of the consciousness, but you help the world around you and everyone you meet become closer too. And I think that if we are spiritual beings experiencing physical reality, the reason we would be doing that is to grow and to inspire growth in other people.
Yep.
So that to me makes the most sense. So that is what I believe. Or I'm agnostic.
Or agnostic.
Depending on who's asking.
And again, this is why I love me and Ashley being podcast partners, this has already happened and we're like 4 questions in at most, maybe 3. She has said, like, without me even knowing, like, the same things as me. Not even like the same belief system, but like I literally have in my notes, I can send you a photo after, of like bullet point. When I'm polite, I say agnostic.
Yeah.
In a polite conversation, agnostic, because that is the easiest way.
No one wants to hear what I just fucking said.
Yeah, like
Unless you're tuning into the show.
Unless you're like genuinely like
yeah.
talk to me. Yeah, which sometimes people are.
For sure.
But like rarely. Yeah, it's like polite conversation, agnostic, or like I'm figuring things out, like I left the church.
I'm spiritual but not religious.
Yes. And like Alex and I get into these conversations probably more than the average person. Well, no, probably not, because it does come up with everyone. So I shouldn't say that. But like Alex and I met, and all of my friends out in LA met at a church, which I think I've talked about on this show. And now I feel bad because we always say we met at a cult. Because now that we are outside, we see.
Well, here's the thing. It's not like you were going to a little church on the prairie. You were going to a fucking weird church that they've made fucking documentaries about, okay? So it's not
Truly.
like you.
Yeah, like mega church, like
mega church,
mega pastor, super
Bieber.
pastor, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And we're like, hey, we don't let the gays serve on our teams. And me and Alex were like, bye.
Bye, that's insane.
And by the time we found that out, though, like we were so like in deep. So it's just so sad.
That's how it happens.
That's how it works.
Not only with cults, but also gangs, any sort of club essentially that you join, and it ingrains itself into your life to the point where everyone in your life is already in that thing. It could literally be a bowling league. It could be the preschool that your kids go to, that now you've made all these friends that are parents at this preschool, and shit goes wrong.
It all goes wrong and you're like, oh my,
uh-oh.
What have I done? Where am I?
Where am I? Who am I?
I am a spiritual person. I believe there is something bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
The term higher power has always been a struggle for me, because then it does feel so like God, but I also like, I don't know that God isn't real for sure, but higher power is something bigger than me. All of the practices that I do, which is a little more on the witchcraft side, are the same as prayer.
Yeah.
And I am like looking to something higher than myself, but also I am looking for my own strength. And I am trying to connect to like, what can I do to bring this forth? I want to manifest it for myself, but that takes me and the universe. So that's why I say like the connected consciousness is like kind of what I'm looking out for. But that is the thing that is bigger than me. So I am truly in limbo, to use a religious term. I'm in limbo because I don't know exactly what I do believe in. I don't know what it's called. I don't have a title, but that's where I'm at.
I think that's fair.
But yeah, there's spirituality there.
Definitely.
I just don't know exactly what's going
I think that the more it's really interesting, and I think that other people would find this as well if they tried it. The more books of the Bible you read that were purposefully excluded from the text, there's actually very Eastern ideals in there: meditation, transcendental meditation, speaking to the dead, and it's a lot of cool shit. And I totally get why they took it out, because if the power's in you, then you can't find it in church, and if you can't find it in church, they don't get paid.
on. You better go to the church and pray to the Jesus. Look at the cross with the guy who's bleeding.
Wow, that sounded like it would be a Red Hot Chili Peppers song.
Totally did.
We got a couple similar cryptid questions. For example, Brendan asked, if you could magically be turned into any cryptid, which would you choose? And Wolfman Mac asked, if you were both cryptids, what would you be? So I guess the full question is, which cryptid would you want to be, but also which cryptid are you really?
Oh my gosh. That's so funny. Like, that should be a quiz on like BuzzFeed.
Absolutely. Does BuzzFeed still exist? Let's find out. Dear BuzzFeed,
Dear
which
BuzzFeed,
cryptid am I?
which cryptid am I? I feel like I'm Nessie. I belong
Aw,
in the waters in Scotland. Also because, like, her nickname, Nessie, is just the cutest.
huh. You're going off the nickname. You've always wanted a good nickname and no one's ever given you one, is what I'm
Yes,
hearing.
which I've talked about on the show. Like,
You
I
have
am
a
Lauren
nickname.
and nothing else.
Layla. You're Layla. That's your cryptid name for sure.
If I was a sea creature cryptid,
I'd
I'd
be
be
Layla.
Layla. You're so right. I did finally get my nickname, and that is so fucking funny.
You're welcome.
So Nessie.
Mm.
But I also want to be a Thunderbird because, like, hometown. Like,
Hometown.
can I just be close to, like, my parents? I want to be near Jeff and Jane.
I want to live closer to my parents, so I'm going to say Thunderbird.
I just want to fly home and, like, lay in a nest in their backyard tree and look at them creepily while they have nightmares and try to shoot me with a gun.
Okay.
Well, that's how they'd react with Thunderbird, but I'd hope I could stop them with my Thunderbird fun personality.
My first thought literally was, are there any indoor cryptids? And there are not. That I could find, because that would have been my answer. I want to be an indoor cryptid, whatever. I guess a house troll. Would that count as an indoor cryptid?
It just reminds me of like Dobby the house elf.
Yeah, totally. House trolls are kind of the same. They sort of like watch
Yeah.
after the people of the house. They throw fits when it's messy. They, protect you from people outside. But if I had to pick like a traditional cryptid, I'd obviously want to be Indrid Cold / the Mothman, because I would be an
Mm.
interdimensional being and I would exist outside of time and I would know everything. And that actually sounds like a nightmare. But maybe, I mean, I don't know. It'd be cool for a minute.
I think it would be fun to call people and like scare them. Is that like evil? Because I'm like, that's part I would.
So what's in my hand? Chapstick.
You're holding a keychain. I saw you masturbating.
Ew. Indrid Cold's dirty.
Well,
Yeah, it would be cool to be an all-knowing, ultra-dimensional being. But in reality, I'm probably more like a Fresno Nightcrawler or a Dover demon, just sort of wandering around lost and scared.
oh. I don't know why it's so
Just
funny.
strolling.
I'm like imagining your head on a creature just like strolling by.
Oh god, this is gonna be another Casper.
we're gonna have to. Like, you're gonna have to put my head on Nessie, and you're gonna have to be on a crawler,
Layla.
and we're gonna be crossing paths.
Wow.
And it's gonna be great. Layla. Layla will always
Layla,
be a
live
special moment.
forever. Now, this is an interesting question. I had to do a little research on this one because Mel asked, do you believe in the unity theory of the paranormal? And I definitely,
I thought this was so fascinating.
I had to check with her on this because I wasn't sure what that theory was. And when I Googled it, Google was like, paranormal investigators should get along. And I was like, first of all, no, there are
Mm-mm.
way too many MAGA paranormal people who think everything is a demon. I do not have to play with them.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I don't want to, and I'm not gonna.
I don't want
But also, second of all, that can't be what she's fucking referring to, and she wasn't. So, the unity theory is that all paranormal activity is kind of the same thing with a different name. For example, ghosts and UFOs and cryptids come from the same place. Also, like aliens and fae have similar features, like the tricksters, and they abduct you, and you don't eat their food, etc., etc. But they seem like totally different things due to the cultural differences of the person who witnessed it.
who is perceiving them.
Do you believe that that is the case?
Again, I have no idea. Nobody listened to a word I say, but when you just put this question at me, my initial response is
Mm.
no, because, which I even wrote in my notes, I'm like, Ashley is so brilliant that she could probably like write an essay and convince me opposite immediately. Like, if you come at me and you're like, actually, Lauren, and then I'll be like, yep, I'm on board. But if I'm just thinking on my own, I I don't think that cryptids and UFOs could be connected, if we're going into like all the things, because in my mind, as we were just talking about cryptids, I'm like, these are just creatures that we don't know enough about yet and like don't understand. I don't even think of cryptids as like aliens or like otherworldly species, which is crazy because like cryptids are cryptids because they're so rare and whatever. But to me, I'm like, no, like Bigfoot just is in the forest, but he's in like the Canadian forest that's miles and miles of trees, and we just like don't know. So I'm like, these are just creatures that we are still learning about. And UFOs, yeah, they may be coming from somewhere else, but like they're visiting enough that like they're among us and we are still figuring them out. They could be totally coming from another place, but I just don't connect them at all. And same with ghosts and aliens. Ghosts, I think we are interfering with different timelines, possible different dimensions. We go along these theories all the time on the show. But like aliens, I put again on a totally different area where I'm like, these are creatures that I think are existing in our timeline, but visiting from somewhere else or living amongst us. We don't know. Again, we're still figuring it out, but I don't think they all come from the same place. And that is where I have landed. I don't think the unity is true.
We're the opposite.
I and I had a feeling, which is why I prefaced with, and Ashley will probably convince me otherwise.
No, it's always been fascinating to me. I'm actually reading this book right now. It's called the Anderson. It's about the Anderson case from back in the 60s. And this totally occurs. Like the woman who had this experience described these beings that came into their home as looking like, quote, clay men, gray skin, small stature, large eyes that look like marbles, a head shaped like an upside down pear, etc., which is literally the classic alien prototype.
Correct,
But
yeah.
when she was asked, even under hypnotism, she said she thought they were angels. Now, bitch, what angels?
What angels? Where?
What angels? Because that's not the biblical description of an angel, which is the craziest thing I've ever heard of, a being with like 50 eyes and 70 wings and rotating discs and shit. And it's
Right.
also not the classical description of angels, which are like cherubs. And it's
No.
also not like Michael with John Travolta. What angels are you referencing?
No one knows what you're talking about, honey.
But it's because something so extraordinary has happened to her, and she's a believer in angels, and that was the only thing that made sense in her mind, was that they were angels. And it's like they're
These
literally
otherworldly.
the furthest thing from an angel I've ever heard of. But I do believe in the unity theory, in a sense that I think that everything we do see, whether it's like a woman in a Victorian gown wandering the halls of the Drake Hotel, or it's a telltale shimmer in the forest, or it's lights in the sky, or it's a big hairy man wading through waters. I think they're all on another plane or in another dimension. And that's why we only ever catch glimpses of them. That's why we've never found a dead Bigfoot. That's why there's never any crash material. Allegedly. There's never any like physical material that we can grab. That's why ghosts blip in and out of existence. We're simply just getting glimpses. And some people get better glimpses than others. And that's either due to their biology or due to their mindset, or perhaps it's due to like the location. Like, that's the thing with like places near running water, there's more kinetic energy, the vibrations are different, maybe they match
Right.
the vibrations of other dimensions. In most places where there are Bigfoot sightings, there's also a shit ton of UFO sightings. They do happen to coincide.
High energy.
So I actually do think that that's true. I think UFOs, cryptids, ghosts, all of these unexplained phenomena are all the same thing, in a sense that they are not of our world, but they are happening simultaneously on top of our world.
Yeah, it's on another
Yeah.
plane.
Or even, cryptids too. Like, you think about Nessie. If we could see the ghost of a Victorian woman in a hotel, what's to say we can't see the ghost of a plesiosaur in Scotland? She could be a ghost.
I know, you're right. And I hear you. And like that, again, I knew you would be able to tell me things that would make me believe the other side. And like, of course, even as this theory was presented, I was like, totally, I hear this. I I think the part that messes me up is I'm like, aliens and cryptids to me feel so much more tangible, even though like who's touched them? Not I, but it's like they feel like something that like I could happen upon. For some reason I'm like, nah, Bigfoot's he's in the woods and we just haven't gotten to him.
We just haven't gotten to him yet. He's just that evasive. Well, that actually leads me to a question from Brendan. Brendan asked, "What is an element of the paranormal you previously thought was total bunk, but now you 100% buy into, and what made you switch sides?" Because when we first started this podcast, I thought ghosts were dead people.
Totally.
And now I don't believe that at all. I think they're very much alive when we see them, and maybe they're getting glimpses of us too. But I don't think that they're dead people back from the dead or wandering
But
the
that's
earth.
like almost backwards of what he asked, which I thought was interesting. That's why I struggled with his question because he was like, what did you think was totally fake and then you believed in? It was like, I believed that ghosts were dead people, and now, yeah, I'm absolutely on the like timeline, different plane thing. So I was trying to think of something that I thought was crap and now believe in, which is tough because I feel like we went the opposite way on a lot of
Yeah.
things, which is good because again, it shows
People
people
can
can
change their
change.
mind
You
with
can
more
learn new
information.
information. But so I agree with you because I think the question could go either way. So that is such a good point. And I think we say that a lot on the podcast, how much our mind has changed of like what ghosts are and what we're experiencing. But I also did have an answer to how the question was worded, even if it was like backwards in some way. and it comes from Julia. Shout out to Keep It Tiered, our
Tiered.
bonus episode. Our hospice nurse, Julia, she has talked about her experiences with like next to death patients and like leading them into death. I used to hear so many stories of people when I was younger saying, oh, when my grandma or whoever was near death, like they saw their husband and then they crossed over to the other side. But I was always hearing it in such a
Mm.
religious context. Like this kind of goes back to the religion conversation. I am not shitting on religion in any way, but I just, because I had found out lies from the church in other ways, it always made me,
It gave you the ick.
it gave me the ick. I had distrusting moments of like people saying, well, like they see their loved ones before they cross over to Jesus. So I was just like, okay. But then Julia started telling me about her hospice patients. And then I also was sitting bedside to one of my best friends in hospice care, Ryan Diddy, who we've talked
Mm-hmm.
about on the show. And like, he kept saying that he was seeing his uncle who had passed a year prior. He was like, every time he'd wake up, because he was on so much morphine, he was like in and out of
Right.
consciousness. He was feeling real good, as he should.
As he should, as is his right.
I know. I'm like, that's right.
That's how I want to go out. I don't want to go out suffering. I want to be on a drip.
That's the beauty of hospice care. You're on that good stuff. I know, because you deserve to just like go out happy. So he would wake up from his little morphine nap, and every time it was like, I was with my uncle, we were fishing. It was so fun. And like, he kept saying that over and over. And then it even got more specific in his final days, like conversations he was having with his uncle. And that's when I started to be like, oh my God, like what? Like he wouldn't just be saying that. He's like on so many drugs, but also like it was just so specific. But then I talked to Julie about it, and we've talked about it in some of our bonus episodes. She's like, oh yeah, almost every patient I have talks about somebody who has passed somewhat recently who they meet up and talk to, and they are like welcoming them to the other side. So I was so in denial about it because I was connecting it to like Jesus and the pearly
Right.
gates welcoming people to the other side. So that was something that I didn't have trust in. And now, and that still feels like on the paranormal plane. So that's why I bring it up. But now I am so like, I do think before we die, we are like, the veil is thin. We are talking to people on the other side who are like, hey, welcome. You're about to join us.
My grandma was worried that we didn't have enough food for all of the firefighters that were there because my grandfather was the fire chief,
I remember you saying that.
and
I love that story.
he had passed, and she wasn't seeing him, but we always talk about how like, oh, we think that like all of his buddies were there to bring her to him,
Mm-hmm.
but she was just really worried that we didn't have enough food for all of them.
We have to feed all, like, look at all these firefighters. I remember you saying, yeah, and it's like when they say that stuff, like, there's no denying that it's like they're seeing something that is like just on the other side. That is one of the best things that I've like been proven wrong on.
Oh, for sure.
I love that I was wrong about that because I'm like, I love to think that when it is my time, like I will see someone on the other side being like, hey, come and join us. And I'm going to see something like that I
Yeah.
can relate to.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense that it would be someone who passed recently because it would be
Totally.
someone that would not necessarily scare you because you maybe have like kind of forgotten that they even
Right.
passed. They're so like familiar to you still, but also
Right.
like they just went through this,
So they're like,
and
hey, this is going to be weird.
every person on this planet has two things in common. We've all been born and we will all die. And that's the only thing every single person on this planet has in common. So, yeah, it would make sense that if we do continue on after this, that someone would be there to be like, this is going to be fucking weird.
Yes.
And allow me to be your guide. Allow me to be your guide in this scary time. You know what? Brendan also, so he was like, hey, have you ever heard of the wizard clip story?
No.
I know. I was like, who? So I have a brief description of this tale, and it seems like Brendan's trying to start some shit with us. So I'm going to read it real quick.
Stir the fucking pot.
I'm just going to read the description on the Legend of Wizard Clip website. Many people still refer to this village as the Clip. Middleway is the village. Where the fuck is Middleway? Middleway Conservancy. Whatever. Here we go. They still refer to this village as the Clip. In the 1770s, Adam Livingston, a Lutheran, moved with his family from Pennsylvania to a farm northwest of present Middleway. Although they had prospered at first, sometime prior to 1790, strange events began to afflict the family. Unusual noises and voices were heard in the house. Crockery was thrown on the floor, and rocks were rolled across the rooms when no one could have done these things. There was a persistent clipping sound. Clip, clip. There was a persistent clipping sound, and clothes were mysteriously cut into pieces. Bitch, I will rock you. This is absurd. Boots and harnesses were cut up, and the pieces were said to be in a crescent shape.
No.
These troubles continued for several years. Adam Livingston sought help from various Protestant ministers to no avail, and eventually Adam had a dream in which there appeared a church and a figure dressed in a black robe whom he later identified as a Roman Catholic priest that he saw in Shepherdstown. Following several visits by town priests, Father Cahill and Father Galitzin, who said prayers and celebrated Mass in the Livingston house, the voices and strange activities slowly ceased. Adam Livingston later converted to Catholicism and donated 35 acres of his farm to the church, which is now a Catholic pastoral center known as Priest Field. What are you trying to say about Lutherans, Brendan?
What you trying to say?
What, we don't know how to cleanse a home of demonic activity?
You had to go to the Catholics?
You had to go to the Catholics? Interesting.
Hair flip. Anyway.
You know we're Lutheran, Brendan. But thank you, Brendan, very much for...
Wait. Why did he want us to know that story?
Oh, I don't know. He just asked if we knew that story. And I wasn't going to include it in this. I was going to include it later, but I thought it was funny that it was like shit talking Lutherans. And I was like, first of all, on my show, you're going to come in?
I'm about to fight you.
I'll fight you, Brendan.
No, it's fine. You're fine, Brendan. No, he had great questions.
Real quick, I want to take a minute-long break. I want to introduce you to a new show that one of our amazing listeners has started. It's called the Foxfire Dispatch. And if you live in North Carolina, if you love North Carolina, if you enjoy real politics, and most of all, if you believe that the South actually can be a lovely, accepting, and generous and inclusive place for all, then you definitely need to check the show out. It's directed by Liz Purvis and Gina Baxter, and here they are to tell you a little bit about it themselves.
Hey y'all, I'm Liz Purvis. I'm a pragmatic progressive organizer and county party chair in rural Greater Triangle area of North Carolina.
And I'm Gina Baxter. I am in local government and I grew up in Western North Carolina. And Liz and I both believe that we can make a path to a better South through local organizing and regional efforts.
And to that end, we have started this podcast, the Foxfire Dispatch, a podcast about all things North Carolina politics and culture and how politics affect this great state and the people inside it. And we're really excited about getting started. And we hope you follow us and give us a listen when episodes drop.
Sometime in June. We're not going to give you a date because we don't want to be locked into one, but it is going to be soon.
Take care. Get in good trouble.
We love you. Most of you. Probably everyone watching this.
Probably everyone.
Ladies, we wish you the best of luck with Foxfire Dispatch. And listeners, Liz is truly one of the coolest gals ever. So if you get a chance, go check out their show, show them some love, give them a follow, etc. Indie Pods forever.
Indie Pods forever. Go support.
Go support our friends.
We love you.
Okay, I think the rest of these questions, there might be a long one in there, but they should go by quickly. Lilo asks, what tattoo should I get next?
Oh,
Something witchy.
I loved that question because I'm also on the hunt. So I'm like, please, somebody write in or text me something. But I love the something witchy.
Totally.
But there's so many options with that.
My suggestion, there are 78 cards in a tarot deck, and they are all so beautiful. You could
They
get
are.
yourself some really powerful and magical designs or inspiration right from a deck of tarot.
Use the symbols.
Yeah, the OG Rider Waite Tarot is my preferred deck, but there are thousands to choose from. You could pick one that's like especially witchy, but the art on those cards, I mean, it's gorgeous and they're all so
Yes.
meaningful. So I think that's a really great place to look if you are thinking of tattoo ideas.
The symbols that also have meaning behind them, and you can find something that like really fits your personality and what your soul is saying. So use any of those symbols. But yeah, you can even go as simple as like get a pentagram, get what is it, a
What?
hexagram? There's also that. Like you can go that way if you want to just be outwardly witchy.
Get a broom.
Get a broom, get a witch hat. I mean, I have a witch hat behind my ear.
You do have a witch hat behind your ear.
I also love the moon phases though. And again, this is going to sound like I'm
Yes,
promoting
beautiful.
my own tattoos, but I love my moon phases so much. I honestly forget they're there, which is so sad because I love tattoos I can see, which is why I usually get them on like the front of my arms. But what's fun is it's always a conversation starter because people will be like, "What's on your arm?" And I'm like, "The moon phases." And then I talk about how all of the moon phases are like particular to what is going on in your life, blah, blah, blah. And I get into a witchy conversation. So this is not for introverts.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you are the opposite of me because when people are like, "What's your tattoo say?" I'm like, "It says I'm the devil and I do the
No.
devil's work." Like,
No,
please
and
don't touch me.
honestly, I'm like, no one speak to me ever, so it is hilarious. But I do like the conversations that it sparks because it's usually it gives me a chance to be a little witchy. So we love
That's
moon
fair.
phases, but we love any of the symbols, and I think the tarot deck is so genius. Ashley, that is very smart.
Absolutely. Look at a tarot deck. There's some really, really gorgeous symbolism on all those cards. So I guarantee you find something that sparks a passion inside you, a fire burning. Jenny asks, what's the wildest rumor you've ever heard about yourself? So juicy. Yeah, have you ever heard a rumor about you?
Not since high school, and mine's dirty, so not safe for work.
Oh,
NSFW. When I was in high school, the biggest rumor going around about me, which like was bad, and like it got like these girls to like threaten me and be like, "Don't go to prom or we'll beat you up," and I was like, "Oh." Everyone thought I was a sloot, which is hilarious because I could not have been more of a like regular, like average Joe, zero experience, had like kissed two people. That was it. I was a sophomore. Everybody started a rumor. I don't even know where it started, but that I masturbated with a leg of a chair, like my desk chair where my computer was. Because if we all remember in high
shit.
school, you got on AIM and you were on like your big old computer.
Yeah, big rig.
And everybody was like, well, she uses like the leg of the chair. And but then what was even worse was it was like she uses a webcam and sends it to people. It was an evolving rumor.
Oh my god.
As an adult, I have not had many rumors spread about me, which means like I'm in a good group of friends. So I think it's a good thing. But like, wow, wasn't high school fun?
Jesus.
Yeah. And then everybody was like, well, she's a slut and we're gonna like fight her if she comes to prom. And I was like, I'm not going to prom, I'm a sophomore.
And it's so funny too, because you want to be like, first of all, No, I didn't masturbate with a chair. Second of all, who cares if people masturbate with chairs? They're not hurting anybody.
And the thing was, like, sophomore year was the year I was, like, exploring with myself, but, like, nobody saw it and nobody knew. So it
Yeah.
almost felt like I was like, are people watching me? Because no, I didn't.
You're like, is this my punishment?
I didn't use, like, a leg of a chair, but I was like, why does everyone know I am doing
Yeah,
this?
why does everyone know that I figured this out about myself?
There's surveillance. So it was just bad. But that was a wild rumor.
That's rough.
Have you ever heard anything?
The only one I could come up with, probably in high school, but I don't know. I can't remember much about high school. But the only one I could think of for sure, and this happened after high school. This was like a handful of years ago, probably like 5 or 6 years ago. But there was a rumor that I was a mean girl who had a burn book in high school.
Oh my God. Do people even know you?
Okay.
Tell me.
I'm almost like not even mad that the rumor got started because it is sort of a misunderstand. Okay, I'll tell the story. So here's what happened. So I was eating at a Mexican restaurant with my best friend Andrew and his then girlfriend, now wife and mother of his child.
Ooh.
The world is magic. And this was the first time I was ever meeting her. I'd heard so much about her. I was so excited to meet her. We were meeting for the first time. We were all out to eat. We were having margs. We were having a good time. And she told me that she had been to a wedding with him, like, I don't know, a matter of like 6 months maybe beforehand. And she told me about this group of girls that I went to high school with who literally, like, the whole time they were there were telling my best friend Andrew that, like, I don't know, that he shouldn't be friends with me and like, why are you still friends with her? And like literally told this girl who I'd never met before. And I felt so sad because I wanted to obviously make a good impression. She's dating my best friend. That yeah, I had this burn book in high school and I was just mean and I was horrible and blah 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 blah. And
They were ruining your rep.
well, I was like, what the fuck? What? Why?
And why?
Why would they?
Why?
Why? Well, here's the thing. Then I thought of, I know exactly what they're thinking, like what they're talking about. It's not a burn book. If it burns anyone, it's burning me. So I had this Natalie, who's been on the show before. She was on our food episode.
Love Natalie. Yes.
She's wonderful. She's my other BFF from high school. Actually, grade school. We've known each other since 5th grade.
I know. You guys are lifetime besties.
For sure. Natalie and I had this Lisa Frank notebook.
Yeah, it was Lisa Frank. Let's all.
Hell yeah, it was Lisa Frank. So remember how, like, in high school, you would write notes to your friends, you'd fold it up a billion times, you'd hand them the folded up note?
Yep, sometimes in, like, a cool origami way.
Yeah, never me. I didn't know how to do that.
Oh.
But sometimes, I swear to God, the teachers in our high school had, like, Terminator vision for note passing. Like, you couldn't pass a note to save your life. So what we did, genius, we had this notebook, and we would write, like, basically like a letter to each other
and then pass the notebook,
and then we would give the notebook to her like in between classes because then it just looks like we're just exchanging the notebook. But then what happens is you have an entire semester's worth of like the tea, the drama, the like everything. And I found this notepad. This one that I found was from I think sophomore year. And I brought it to, this was after high school, this was in college. I brought it to, we always used to get together and do Friendsgivings together. I brought it to one of those and we all read passages out loud. And like, there's shit. I mean, it's not really shit talking. It's just like so and so broke up with so and so fought with so and so in the parking lot.
Right. It's like just the drama.
So and so sucks after they started dating this guy.
That's not a burn book in the slightest.
No. And like I said, if it burns anyone, it's me and Natalie, because half of that book was literally like Dane Cook quotes, Homestar Runner doodles.
Homestar Runner like ruled my life. Dane Cook quotes. Yeah, that burns you real hard.
Embarrassing Limp Bizkit lyrics. Like it is
Oh,
a the most embarrassing thing I've ever read because it was me writing it.
Ashley. Oh, love that.
The best part about it, I think it's so funny. Every single week, me and Natalie were convinced that our parents were going to let us stay out past curfew. Every single week, we were like, I'm pretty sure that this weekend I can talk my mom and dad into letting me stay out until 1 a.m.
I'm gonna do it.
It never happened. I don't know why we thought. It was like the last time I had hope. It was the last time I had hope in my life. Every weekend I thought I was going to get to stay out past curfew. I never was allowed to stay out past
You had
curfew.
Ron Cassidy as a dad. Like, what did you? Because
What was I
Pam, if
thinking?
anything, would have like maybe she would have been
Maybe
like, well,
thought
just
it,
like
considered
don't
it.
fucking like tell anybody. But Ron is like,
No.
no, you
First of all,
joker.
ma'am, it's illegal. You want to get a ticket? Get home. So, anyways, I brought this to a Friendsgiving. Everyone at the table read aloud. We were all throwing our heads back and laughing. And obviously,
And that's where the rumor was started, though.
one of the girls that were there, either because I believe this girl was there. If I remember correctly, she was there. So she must have just like,
The girl who told Andrew's now wife.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She must have gotten hurt by something that was in there. So, like, a part of me is like, okay, obviously I know where this came from and I hurt someone's feelings and that makes me feel so sad. But at the same time,
Yeah, that is horrible.
I love that it happened because I was like so mad about it and I wanted to prove that I didn't have a burn book that I went through all my old stuff, found the notebook. I now have it. I read every page of it. It was such a blast from the past. It was so amazing.
You had receipts.
And I also have receipts. That is not a burn book. Joann asks, what do you think about animal psychics?
Yeah. I know it's a terrible answer,
Tough
but like
sell.
honestly, I'm because I believe like the animal whisperers and people who like help families train their dogs and cats and
That I believe in for sure.
yeah, where I'm like, I think you can read language of pets, but the telepathy part I don't buy into. I know. Here's the caveat, Ashley, before you attack me. I know we've been talking about the damn dolphins, but that is, in my opinion, the dolphins connecting to the humans and being like, I've been trying to fucking talk to y'all
Correct.
for years, and I'm finally getting through to somebody, to Joann at the aquarium. Finally connecting. And so I think that is more on the dolphins, like finally connecting to a person. And it doesn't matter who it is. Maybe they're in a vulnerable state that like needed to
For
communicate,
sure.
because in most of the stories,
It's
it
not a
seems that
person who
way.
is, yeah, a medium or whatever.
Correct. So I think it's bullshit when people are like, I'm an animal psychic. I'm like, nah.
It's tough. That's a hard one for me to believe. Like regular human psychics are a tough enough sell for me.
Correct.
So animal psychics are like rough. I will say some of the stories rough. Some of the stories that were shared on the telepathy tapes about psychic connection to animals, they were pretty wild. If anyone's interested in listening to them, it's the Talk Tapes episode 7. No, I'm with you on that. My hesitancy towards animal psychics are purely on the human side of things.
Correct.
Because I absolutely believe animals have the ability to communicate with us.
And they've been fucking trying.
Yeah. And especially the person that they're closest with, because there's so
Yeah.
many times that dogs have alerted people to having cancer. They know when you're pregnant. They know when you are sad. They know when you're worried. They know when you're about to have a seizure. They are so intuitive. I absolutely 1000% believe that they have the ability to communicate with us and understand us. It's humans.
It's us
that I don't trust to tell me the truth.
That is exactly the point I was trying to make, is why I'm like, and animal psychics are a no for me, because I am like, no.
No for me, dog.
You don't know, human. This tiger named Lisa at the zoo. Yes, I believe her. I don't believe the humans.
It's also so much that you can't prove. Like every time I've seen an animal psychic reading, it's always like, your dog was a soldier in World War II. And it's like, oh,
Okay.
and that's why it doesn't like loud sounds. I'm like, well, a lot of dogs don't like loud sounds. I don't think we have a bunch of World War II soldiers running around as dogs.
That's just a dog.
Loud sounds are scary.
That's just a dog.
It's a dog. That's just a chihuahua, ma'am.
I'm like, let me drink my whiskey because I am so annoyed. I feel like I'm triggered by animal psychics, honestly, because I am like,
Yeah.
I am so fascinated by the telepathy tapes. Like, we have talked about this on the podcast. I am not against like the connection of us with them, but I think humans are BS on that side. So that is where my rage is coming
rough
from.
stuff. JG asks, have you ever put a curse on someone who pissed you the fuck off?
I loved this question because, like, yes and no is the answer, because I don't actually know how to like cast a decent curse.
Right, how to like actually curse someone.
And as much as I've been annoyed with people, I usually don't wish that much ill will on them until.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I've cast a few binding spells on the current administration, but
oh yeah, my God,
doesn't seem to be working. So I don't know if it's real magic. I have started doing this. I don't know if you do this. I'm a crazy person. So our tree in our front yard, I talk to her every day.
I love
And I'll pet her leaves and just sort of like tell her about my day. And I ask if she likes being our neighbor, like just stuff like that. Just totally normal things.
Like being our neighbor. So cute.
That people do. Okay.
Okay.
And I also talk to the tree outside of my job because she's there every day. She shades my car, I think, or whatever. And I heard from a very witchy content creator, couldn't tell you the name of him, sorry, I'm really bad at my job, but I heard that you could tell the trees the people that you dislike, and they will, in their ancient wisdom, potentially like spread the word and maybe take care of that person. However, hasn't worked yet, so I can't say that it's a foolproof method, but I have started telling the trees when I'm annoyed with someone.
And it's okay. I'm like already looking out the window, even though the curtains are shut. I'm looking out longingly because there is a tree that reaches our balcony, and I might need to tell them because, and that's why I made the joke. Like, I've never wished ill will until there is a person who I have met at my son's kindergarten pickup gate. And I do not wish ill will. Like, that still stands, but I want space.
You want him to learn a lesson.
I want him to learn a lesson. I want him to give me space. I want him to understand that he is overstepped in many ways. So,
use your voice, girl.
I'm going to talk to the trees about it.
Use your own voice. Why do you have a creep creeping on you?
I got a creep creeping. And it's not just on me. It's like on our whole family. One of my best friends, who also is a mom at the school, said it best. She goes, "This man wants to wear your skin."
Okay.
And she just said that like as a joke, but we laughed, and then we were like, oh, but really? Because it's one of those, I don't think he's trying to get with me. He is a married man with a child. He wants my life. Like, he constantly comments on how happy he thinks Alex and I are, and Wilder is, and
this sounds like a nice guy.
I don't know. I can't explain it. It's not complimentary. It's creepy. That's the only way I can put it. And other people have witnessed it, which is why my friend said he wants to wear your skin, because it's always like he talks about me to other people. So I have had intentions in my meditations about him, which is why I was like, I've never cursed anyone. I don't know how to cast a curse. Nor do I necessarily want to. I think at the end of the day, he'll be fine. But
well, I think you should start telling
he'd be the one.
Start telling the trees about this fool. Just, you don't even have to curse him. Just tell the trees about him. Just tell the trees your grievances and your problems.
Does anyone want to wear your skin, listeners? I want to ask y'all. Write in if someone wants to wear your skin.
Okay, we have 2 more questions. Emily asks, 2 unsolved cases, JonBenet and Madeline McCann. What happened?
Oh. Oh. I wish I fucking knew.
What's your latest theory? Like, where are you? Because here's the thing. We've all gone through our phases with JonBenet of like, it was this, and then it was that, and then it was this, and now I think, where are you at right now?
I know, which I'm like, this is so dark and awful, but I'm like, I feel like my theory is a not trendy theory, which is so gross to even say. But I'm like, I am still hooked on it was an accident with the brother, and the parents were just so wanting to cover it up because she was a pageant girl. Because it was like, there was no like DNA like on her from the family, but it was like, what if the brother just like clocked her on accident and the mom genuinely thought she was missing and reported it and then was like, fuck, she's in the basement. The brother just admitted to it. Let's make a ransom note because we are known in the community and we need to like keep up this reputation and picture. So I really buy into that because it would be so easy to hide, and I don't think a lot of DNA would come up from the family if he like hit her with a brick or something because he was pissed.
I think he hit her with a flashlight. Actually, I used to think JonBenet's brother killed her, but I've actually shifted in the last year or so.
Now, what do you think?
I think it was her mom.
Why do you think
I
that?
think her mom killed her. I think it was an accident, but I think her mom freaked out again. She'd freaked out before
She did freak
over
out.
her bedwetting, which is a huge red flag that she was already being abused in some way in that house.
Correct.
And I think the blow to her head was an accident, and that everything done after that was a cover up of the accident and the abuse.
I think we know that for sure. The cover up, whether it was mom or brother, cover up was the ransom note.
The mom wrote the ransom note, period.
Totally. Because that's the biggest thing is everybody is like, we cannot definitively say that the ransom note was not written by the mom. And I'm like, because it was.
Because it was. It was absolutely written by the mom. I mean, they even found like the pad of paper in the house with like the impressions on it, and like it was her handwriting. Like, I'm sorry, it was her.
It was from the mom. So it's like she was covering up for herself or the brother. Yeah.
Yeah, so it happened inside the house. And unfortunately, I mean, same with Madeline McCann. Like, I think with her, it was either an accident in the hotel room, and then the parents
Totally.
wanted to just kind of stage a missing child kidnapping because they didn't want to admit that they had endangered their children.
Uh-huh.
Or, here's the thing, they had been, I mean, this is how they lived their lives. They constantly left their, like, 2-year-old twins and 5-year-old daughter alone multiple times a day on vacation.
Yeah.
All a creep would have to do is observe that happening a couple times and then just wait for them to leave them in the hotel room again and go grab her.
I think that's what I hate the most about her case is it's like either the parents had an accident occur and tried to cover it up, but like also the other option is this like creepy man who was known to be in the area and like pinged cell phone towers close by went in because he witnessed them being loose and not caring and leaving their kids alone in the room and went in. So I'm like,
This is why you don't leave your kids alone.
exactly. So I'm like, either theory is terrible because there's like the parents are trying to defend themselves so much, being like, well, it was a person who was preying on our daughter and had been watching us and we didn't know. And it's like, he preyed on her because, yeah, he's a pedophile and awful, but he was seeing how he had a chance.
He had an
because
opportunity
you
and he
kept
took
leaving
it.
her. Yeah. And so it's like, and then absolutely an accident could have happened that was from them. So I guess that's the answer to that question too, is I'm very torn on that one. I feel like for a long time I did think like, oh, it was parents and they're covering it up. But I honestly think it might have been the predator only because there's so much evidence that points to that man like being right around her room, but that it's also at the fault of her parents,
Yeah.
like leaving her vulnerable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a bummer.
both are horrific.
Both are horrible.
We have no idea. I hope one day with DNA advancements we'll learn, but who knows?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think there was any DNA. They found her DNA in the trunk of the parents' car, but here's the thing, it wasn't like we found blood in the trunk of the car. We found trace
Totally.
DNA, and it's like, well, yeah, I mean,
Which,
all
like,
their
her
luggage
stuff.
was back there. Like, of course, like her DNA would probably be in there.
I know. I more meant JonBenet because yeah,
Mhm.
Madeline is just like, where did she go?
Where is she?
With JonBenet.
All right. Well, we'll end it on a light note. Joe asked,
Please.
what is the weirdest snack/snack combo that you love? And I swear to God, Lauren, if you say microwave cheese on a plate, I will scream.
No, that was just like me being poor. I couldn't afford food, so I did that. I love pickles and cream cheese. I love tortilla chips dipped in ranch.
Okay.
Those are like the weirdest.
I got a real weird one. You're going to have to really hang on. Stay with me, okay?
I don't believe it'll be that weird. I bet I'll eat it as well.
Cheez-Its with freeze-dried raspberries.
Oh, yeah, that is fucking stupid.
The salty, savory cheesiness of the Cheez-It with the sour, sweet raspberry. Guys, it is insane. It's a delicious snack. The best form of this obviously would be actual cheese, like a Gouda or an aged cheddar with fresh raspberries. But if you don't have the fresh version, this is a cheap and delicious treat. You'd be surprised at how good it is.
Okay, so Alex would love that, and I can't wait to like tell him about it. And most people will because, sorry, I'm hiccuping. People love salty and sweet. So, like, a savory and sweet combination is great. So you are the normal one, but to me, that is my worst nightmare. Like, I want savory on savory. And this is not a favorite snack now, but I want to share my favorite pregnant snack was hot Cheetos dipped in hot Fritos cheese dip from the can.
Oh my God.
Midwesterners know the canned cheese, which is probably made from outer space, not actually cheese, with hot Cheetos dipped in it. That was my pregnant snack. But then one of my friends who was not pregnant at all came over and tried it and was like, damn, like I don't want to admit this to anyone, but like that slaps.
Here's the thing, I'm sure it slaps, but also, no wonder you had hemorrhoids when you were pregnant.
I know, truly. Like,
you were shitting hot fire.
ready to shit some hot sauce.
Well, that was fun. That is all the time we have this week for Keep It Weird.
What a great way to end it.
Thank you all so much for joining us.
We are who we are.
We are who we are. And that's all that we are. Thank you for being patient with us this summer as we're all over the place.
My gosh, I know. Apologies times 10.
So sorry. Follow us on social media if you aren't already at Keep It Weirdcast. Join our Patreon, please, please, please. Patreon.com/Keep It Weird Podcast, where you can donate $1, $5, $10, or even $50 to our show. And in return, you will get bonus episodes, discounts on merch, free tarot card readings, and an opportunity to sponsor a segment of our show. I'm actually going to be doing a giveaway this month on our Patreon. Any patron who has donated $50 or more to our show over the lifetime of the show, because I can see those stats, will be entered to win a segment sponsorship for free. So I'm going to be picking 2 patrons who have donated over $50 over the lifetime of their donations. You're going to be able to create and name a segment that you want us to add to our lineup of segments on the show.
That's very cool.
And last but not least, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/keepitweirdpodcast, as all of our episodes are also videos, and we're trying to grow that channel along with our audio channels. Let us spin the wheel now, ma'am, and let fate decide how we end this episode. If we get random question, that's going to be hilarious.
I'm going to scream.
Tarot card.
Do you have your tarot deck?
I do not have the deck. I have the tarot poetry book, which serves us so well.
I think it's perfect for the wheel.
Well, okay, so what question was asked today that really had us stumped, or that really we disagreed on, that we should ask the tarot cards about, or just one that we'd like to revisit?
Wait, what were we opposite on?
Like the unity question, for example.
The unity theory had us both stumped, and what we theorized was opposite. So, unity theory.
We could do the unity theory. Let's ask.
I feel like that would be a good question because we were very different on that.
All right, let's see what the tarot cards have to say. Would you like to pick a page or have me flip the book?
Flip.
Flip it. Just flip it. Flip it. Don't know what to
Flip
do.
it.
Flip it.
Flip it good. Flip it. Huh? You know you could.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, we'll see. Okay, so the question is, just in general, is the unity theory of the paranormal true? The poem is, seemingly out of nowhere, an opportunity presents itself, and right through its golden arches, livelihood awaits.
McDonald's?
McDonald's! Step through with gratitude and find your footing without having assumed that this is foreverhood. That seems like it would be an answer to another question that we had today.
I know. I'm like, that only makes unity more vague. It's like, maybe just step into it. I think it said go to McDonald's and Ronald McDonald will tell you the answer.
Go to McDonald's and have a freaky fun, freaky fast time. Nope, that's
Jimmy John's. Don't you dare degrade Jimmy John's, which we had when we were together.
We didn't have it when we were together. Oh, memories.
We don't know about the unity theory.
We don't know about the unity thing, but maybe we'll find out next time. In the meantime, keep it weird.